Hi Eduardo, welcome to this series of videos that I'm creating to just to bring a little bit more about the awareness intensive who is in retreat. And thank you for accepting the invitation for an interview. So, I would like to ask you what called you to say yes when you heard about the awareness intensive retreat for the first time.
Thank you for the invitation, Naran. And of course, I'm pleased to be here. So, answering your question, what brought me to the retreat? Well, I was, you handed me the invitation like a couple weeks before the retreat, and I didn't say yes at the beginning, I remember, because I was thinking about it. I've never, at that point in time, I've never done a retreat before, and I didn't know what to expect. So I was a little bit hesitant to go. I was like, is it worth it? Can I do it by myself? Or like, what is it all about, you know? And the moment I decided to actually go to the retreat was, I would say, a little magical moment I had. It was also like a couple weeks before the retreat. I was with a couple friends and we traveled for a couple days to the north of Quebec. And I remember we were hiking in a mountain for a couple hours. It was a beautiful mountain, Mount Albert, in Gaspésie. And during that hike, I took a little piece of magic mushroom. So I was under the effect of mushrooms, but it was not super big or it wasn't a big dose. So it was more like a micro dose. And when I was walking and kind of like meditating to myself, because it was a 5 hour hike, so it was a lot of time for introspection. Um, I realized that, well, at the time I had some kind of like some personal questions, some problems at work, and like interpersonal relationships that I don't know, I was a little bit troubled with. And while doing that hike, I got a sense of separation and like, I don't know, it was really magical because I literally saw myself as a different person, and all this other person or avatar I created for myself that I believed that it was me, it was put under like under questioning, you know. So I question a lot about the person I am, the values I have, the personality I even had, and I realized like that's not who you really are. And during that process of questioning, I remember the retreat and the title of Who is In. So I linked the two of them of those experiences, and it was very clear to me that this retreat was somehow gonna give me another perspective of the person who I thought I was, or the entity who I thought I was. So yeah, like I think that's the moment I realized, like, yes, you know what, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna explore it, I'm gonna be curious about it, and I'm gonna I'm gonna experience whatever I have to experience and get whatever I get, you know. So that was the first moment I was really, really interested and really secure and sure about coming to the retreat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm hearing that there is this sense of wonder of who am I really at the core.
Mhm.
And had you had before this sort of questioning in yourself, or was it the first time?
And no, actually, I felt that before. Whenever I am under the influence of a psychedelic or in deep meditation states, I kind of like see those parts of me, the usual mind trying to calm and like, I don't know, like be very rigid with like this is who you are, you know what I mean? But I think like the more I think that under those moments or in the influence of like a psychedelic, I feel like I always question myself and I get more insights of like a different part of me that's not really attached to that story or like very rigid personality or avatar that I created.
Mm. Was there any feeling attached to that when that happened? Was there any feeling attached to that observation in the moment? Just by curiosity.
Curiosity is a big word, and I think that's the main one, to be honest, because it's always a sense of wonder of like, huh, okay, so if I'm not that, what am I? And then, like, I guess before, I've always just, I've been always okay with the experience of just being curious, you know? So I honestly don't think I've ever wanted to find like, okay, this is it, you know, like a specific thing, because in those moments, the experience has always been like, this is it, you know, like you being curious, you like that, that's it. It's not necessarily something that sticks or that's not moving.
Mm.
Mm.
Mhm. So what was your experience during the retreat? Um, what did you find out about yourself, or what happened? What happened during the retreat? Without necessarily talking about the structure, but about your
Mhm.
personal experience.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks from that. And I think I'm still experiencing it, to be honest. I think it's something that just keeps going, keeps giving. Because honestly, I like again, like I had no expectations besides the question who is saying, which for me it was like, oh, maybe I'm gonna get a sense of like the real me, you know what I mean? And in a sense, I think I got that because during the whole 4 days or 3 days or of the retreat, I I got in touch with myself and with a part of myself that I was not very aware of. So that presence or that perspective I got, because I got a new perspective on how I experience life. That I think that for me was the most significant thing I got out of the retreat because I saw like there's a lot of things I could keep I think like hours talking about it. But like in a nutshell, or if I want to be like more synthesized, I would say it gave me a tool and yeah, a tool to experience life in a different way, to be more present and just to be more aware of my experience per se. Because before I felt like I was, I don't want to say a victim of my experience. Like I was just going through the same patterns, and I don't know. It was like being on autopilot before, and I was not even aware of. And when I was there, it was a clear spotlight to the brain and to your eyes, and I was like, wow, okay, I have all of these things that I do that I'm not even aware of, and I have this experience that I'm not like this present moment that I'm not experiencing because either my head is all like in the present, no, sorry, in the future or in the past, but the present is sometimes it was hard for me to be present because I realized I was very used to moving away from it in order to not be bored or in order to not feel anything because that's another thing I realized like how used to emotions I was, like how much I needed them, or I was very like craving them. And I really, really appreciated the structure of the retreat to make me aware or to make people aware of the difference of like, okay, your day-to-day life where you have a lot of inputs where you have yeah, I mean you have a rhythm of things and of life. And when you take some space and you put yourself in a situation where you're able to literally hold some space from that, you get a completely new perspective that now that I'm back to real life where I like have to work, I have like things to do, I still have the tool available to me to always go back to that space and to be able to focus myself into my experience and try to be more present. And it's been very fulfilling lately. Well, I'm talking now about like the present state that like if I want to keep myself to the question or focus on the question, that's what I experienced. Yeah.
Hmm. So, in this new perspective
Mhm.
that you found out, um, can you talk about the little changes that you noticed?
Yeah. Do you mean like in like now?
Yeah, yeah. So this is what
Mhm.
happened in the retreat. Like, how did it evolve, or how it's happening right now?
Mhm. So for me, it's well, I feel the way I see it being present or coming back to me, it's those moments where I'm experiencing anything. To be honest, it could be from doing the dishes and like my mind starts rumbling and going somewhere else. I can see that now from a different space, and it's hard to describe. I think you have to experience it, or I don't know. But for me, it's like it's as if I again like I had the same like other pair of eyes looking at my experience, and my experience being either my thoughts, my movements, my feelings, my physical sensations, and just looking at it, you know? So I realize that like again, like whenever I do anything, sometimes it just comes to me. It's like I'm working and I'm doing something and sometimes I get too like attached to an activity or a thing that is happening in the moment. That it kind of like steals me from that perspective or um that perception. But again, like that's where when it comes and I'm like, wow, it's like waves of like realization sometimes that it just brings me down a little bit. And when that happens, it's hard to explain again because it's a different level of experience when you're in the middle of it and just like getting yourself through the ups and downs of the feelings and like whoa. And sometimes you can get attached and sometimes like I don't know, like there's a lot of things, or at least the way I see it is like there's a lot of things that just happen to you and you have no control. But when I'm in that state of like presence and like of observation, it's like I just see it go, and some emotions or activities or things happen faster or slower in life. And when I'm in that state, I just see them happen at their own rate. You know, I don't hold to them. I don't stay in the same thought pattern that sometimes could be like very draining because I realize like sometimes like the mind is used to like going around and around and around to the same thing that sometimes you don't need, you know, like sometimes you're just in a different place and going back to that place and being able to go back to that place, that's what I really appreciate. Um, so yeah, that's kind of like how I'm living it right now, like doing the most random things or living through the highest peaks of emotion where I'm with my family and something happens and I'm like, whoa, I just look at it and I'm able to control or to kind of like not control because control, I feel like it's a very like heavy word, but just like to leave the emotion to the to the life or to the time it has to be experienced, but just that, I don't hold to that. I don't crave like going for more. And yeah, it's been very, very grounding. I feel more connected to myself and to others as well, because then I also see in other people who maybe are not in the same position or who who do get lost in that thought pattern. And I'm just realizing, like, oh, it's very interesting. It's been a couple of weeks since the retreat, so a lot of things feel new to me after that experience, and that's what I'm figuring out right now.
Mm. And so you're saying that there's a lot of things happening, and do you see a change in yourself? Do you see any um, almost like a change of identity, or do you see those type of changes in yourself?
Yes, I mean, I want to say yes, but the way I feel it, I don't know if I would describe it as a change of identity. It's more of a realization of the real identity with because the old identity, I don't know, it's still there, like it's it's like I'm more aware of where it comes from because I think before it was just like this is it and this is me and this is my story, this is like these are my narratives, this is like everything I've always done and this feels good or this feels like it makes sense. But now it's like, like after the retreat, I questioned that part and I really like, I mean, yeah, in a way that's you, but that's like there's way more to you than that. So it's not like a complete change of like discarding everything and I'm a complete new person, but it's just like I'm more aware. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe, but yeah, that's the way I would describe it.
Mm. Yeah, awesome.
Mm.
And what would you, if you had something to share with somebody that has never done the process, what would you say?
Well, what would I say? I guess if you're interested in it, if you're curious about it like I was, and you have the possibility of doing it, I would say do it. Honestly, well, I'm speaking from experience, but it's changed my perspective on how I see things. And again, it's like as if I was giving a tool that I could use in my day-to-day life. That it's been very helpful so far. And if you're interested in it, if you get a calling from it, if you need a change of perspective, I think it's very useful for that. And um, yeah, if you end up going, be open to the experience. Try to just be curious and yeah, just be open to it. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes there's like bad patches and like good patches. Like everything is like life, right? Like if everything was up and peaks, life wouldn't be as as it is. Uh, but trust me, well, at least from my experience and the people I talk to, I think it's worth it. And you may get a surprise that or a gift that you can take on for the rest of your life. So yeah, I would say that to them.
Mm, mhm. Thank you. Yeah. And maybe my last question is, would you do it again?
Yes, for sure. I kind of doubt it a little bit, like do it again, but I think I would definitely. Like if I had the possibilities and the time and everything, let's do it. I don't know if I would do it like right now because again, like I still feel like I'm processing things. So maybe right this moment is not the time, but for sure it's a practice that I want to keep in my life. And being in the retreat gives you the environment and the structure to fully take advantage of the practice. So I think it's really, really, really worth it. And yes, I will do it.
Well, thank you again for accepting the invitation today. And yeah, thank you for sharing your insights and your experience.
Oh, thank you for the time as well.
Mm.